is off the charts, and you can hear every note. The whole band sounds great, and I hope you share it with your audience. He sent us the link, which I'm going to post on our Facebook page. But if you want to look it up, it's soundcloud.com/the KLOS sessions /hot-4-teacher. Sounds pretty amazing. I did agree with that. You know, it's funny that you mentioned this, Paul. Paul Davis is the gentleman who sent this in. And he says here, Hot for Teacher is hands down one of the most requested songs to be broken down for Van Halen, especially for the drummers who always want to figure out what the hell Alex Van Halen is doing. So thank you for sending that. I appreciate that. Dave, you know that about Hot for Teacher, right? A lot of drummers are always asking for it.
Yeah. How much of it is overdubbed or isn't? And I got to tell you, I did listen to that. It was about a 20-minute radio show of the breakdown of that song, and it really is worth your time, a phenomenal listen of all the different parts of the songs together. If nothing else, you get to hear Mike's contribution to the song, because it does tend to be buried in the mix. Interestingly, he does follow Eddie for a lot of the song.
Right.
And you get to hear the spoken part of the song without any of the instruments in the way, so you can really hear what Dave's saying and them talking in the background. Mm-hmm. So really, I recommend it to anybody who's a Van Halen fan who likes to hear how a song is constructed. I would go listen to that, absolutely.
Absolutely. So Dave, on letter number 4, guess who comes out of the woodwork? We haven't heard from him in a while.
Gotta be our bud, Midwest Ron.
Midwest Ron makes a huge comeback. And boy, does he have some questions, and he even gives me a nice shellacking. So here we go, Midwest Ron. He comes out here and he says, number 1, he says, while in Manhattan to see the Eddie and Dave play, did you stop by the Times Square Cabo Wabo Cantina location to see how construction was coming? He wants me to check on construction. So here's the deal. I'm going to answer these one at a time. Ron, I did not, and I'll tell you why, because Eddie and Dave was all the way downtown in the Village. Times Square was all the way uptown, so it wasn't worth going to, but I will go by the next time I'm in Times Square, and I will check for you, which is 725 8th Avenue between 45th and 46th Streets. They have apparently 8,300 square feet space and are taking out a 10-year lease, and they're supposed to open this year. I would imagine that they want to open for the summer, but we'll see what happens. So the next time I'm in the city, I'm going over there.
Oh, good, because I was curious about that, because I read a recent interview with Sam, and he made it sound like the deal wasn't quite signed yet. So I was actually...
really?
Yeah, so I'm really curious if either the article was dated or Sam didn't realize that he had signed the paperwork already, or how far along they were.
Okay.
So you'll definitely have to let us know if they've started construction on Sam's piece of it yet.
Yeah, and also for Ron, I'm going to try to call the Cabo Wabo in Cabo San Lucas to see if I can get an update. So we'll see what happens. I'll try to call, and I'll get back to you on the next pod for that, Ron. Number 2, because Ron keeps us working here. What do you think the chances are of Eddie and Dave, which is the play that was at the Atlantic Theater in New York City, going on the road? Is there anything we as fans who want to see it can do to push for that? Well, I'm going to give you this. Amy Statz, who is the writer and starred as Eddie in the play, she has a Twitter at Amy Statz, and last name is Staats. You can tweet at her if you like, or you can call the theater at 212-691-5919 and check the status on that, or ask them what the situation is there. Number 3, I recall something from the Noel Monk auction interview about a catalog being available, but I never saw that. Was it available, and if so, can copies be had? And if it wasn't available, why not? Boy, does Ron get down in the dirt. So let me tell you, he's unbelievable. He's like a lawyer, this guy. So I would just email access, ACCESS, at backstageauctions.com if you want to put in a request, Ron. There's also a phone number, which is 713-862-1200. And just tell them you're Midwest fucking Ron and you want some answers. That's right. No bullshitting around. And then he also
That'll work.
Yeah,
That'll work just fine.
Yeah, and he also says, God damn it. So he also says, is the Frankenstrat guitar in the upcoming Met exhibit the same one that was donated to the Smithsonian? The answer to that question is no. That was the black and white Frankenstein guitar. This is the actual red, white, and black one, which was the original Frankenstrat guitar. Now, as we continue with Ron, he doesn't stop. He says, will you be seeing the Met exhibit and updating on us what it's like? We did talk about it in Van Halen News, but Dave and I plan to go and check it out for ourselves, and when we go, we will do a full report and report right back to you, Sergeant Ron. So now this is where I get it right in the keister. So he says, during mailbag number 38, in the discussion about Twisted Sister ripping off the Van Halen logo, Dave C. throws out an unchallenged comment about Van Halen ripping off a Jimi Hendrix logo. Please cite your source. If it is the Noel Monk book, be advised that that info is incorrect. This logo first appeared in 1980, thus ripping off the Van Halen logo, not the other way around. Woo! Oh, I can just feel the sting on my behind as we're saying that.
Right. Now, I will say that I do agree with Ron, and I'm pretty sure we had touched on this in a prior podcast episode.
Okay.
Don't ask me which one. And in fact, in one of our interviews, I think it was the second one, with the esteemed former manager, right, our good buddy, Noel Monk, I'd actually asked Noel about that, and I kind of tried to touch on the dates because I had done similar research, which had shown that that poster had come out after the fact, and Noel had said he had found it in the old manager's stuff, which was like around 78, 79. Noel pretty much shot me down. Because he had pretty much said, you know what, I know what I saw, and and I was like, all right, I'm not going to challenge Monk because, as he frequently reminds me, he was the manager for Van Halen during their important years.
Right.
So who am I to challenge him?
Right.
Having said that, Ron, I do agree with you that I am less likely to believe that Van Halen had stolen their logo from that Jimi Hendrix poster, and I honestly believe that it was the other way around.
Right, yeah. So you're always supporting Ron. And here's the thing.
I am always supporting Ron.
That's true.
You're right.
Right.
But in this case, I think the facts bear that out, and I really think I know what Noel said, and I know the time period, but the only thing I can think of is that Noel had seen like a demo copy of the poster before it was legitimately released.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why it was in the old manager's stuff, and he never got to act on it because he already been canned by the band at that time.
I tell you, if Noel was here, I guarantee you this is what he would say. We're like, Dave, let me ask you a question. Were you there? And you'd be like, no, I was 8 years old. Exactly.
No,
Next question.
I know Noel says if you weren't there, that it doesn't count.
Right.
So anybody who writes a book about the Egyptian pyramids doesn't count because none of us were around at the time.
Right.
And I respect Noel immensely that the fact that he was there and he would know better than me, better than anybody about a lot of things, better than the band about a lot of things.
Right, I know.
But on this item, I do have to agree with Ron.
Okay.
And not because I typically agree with Ron on a lot of things. It's because I think the facts bear that out.
But you're like, all I know is he's right.
That's right. All I know is he's right. I'm not a gambling man, but if I were a gambling man, I'd gamble on Ron's answer.
Okay. So now, if I remember correctly, didn't we kind of find out, I don't know, it was through Ron or somebody else, that like somebody used that Jimi Hendrix logo on some sort of rehash compilation or something that happened in like 1980 or something?
Yeah, that poster was part of a Jimi Hendrix album. It was included in that album. I don't think it was a box set because that was before box sets came out.
Right.
But it was some kind of Jimi Hendrix release.
Okay, right.
I think it was a European release.
Right.
at that, too.
Right. Well, look, put this fucking thing to bed. Just give it to Ron. Give him the points. There you go, Ron. There you go. We'll battle it out at Van Halen Bash 3. All right. So,
right. See you there, Ron. We'll arm wrestle you for the truth.
Exactly. We are on to letter number 5, and it is from Scott Everett. He says, I listened to your March podcast today, and it was stated that you wish there was a VH1 classic still on the air or a MTV classic. I have DirecTV now, and there is a MTV Classic channel, and it's great to leave on for a few hours and relive how we used to watch videos. Scott Everett. That's great, Scott, and thank you for writing in and letting me know about that. But why is MTV Classic relegated to DirecTV now? I don't understand that. Like, I really think at this point we should have, like, MTV 80s, MTV 90s, MTV 2000. I mean, come on, Viacom. Nostalgia is the drug of the day. People want to turn back the clock, and the young people want to witness what they missed. I think there's an obvious market for this. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, but there is a market for it, but I don't think the platform is cable TV anymore.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe it's all just streaming. Maybe something.
Yeah. I think there's a market, and you got to find out where the people our age are watching it these days.
Right.
But I think it's less and less cable.
Yeah.
Or DirecTV, for that matter.
Right. That's the truth. That's the truth. All right, we're at the midpoint here with our letters, and this letter came in, and we want to preface this letter with a statement. So this letter came in, we're going to read it, and it comes from a guy by the name of Robert Goebel, and he's from a company called dogsoverlava.com. This is alleged. We don't know if this is true or not. We're going to read the letter as it states, and we'll talk about it afterwards, but we don't know if this is true, but this is just a letter from him, so we'll see what it says here. It says, just listening to the latest podcast, and I can share the following. Eddie is quote-unquote unwell, which is a quote from a famous musician told to me who is in the position to know. I don't know what that means, but the plans for the summer were coming together and canceled for this reason. This might explain Wolfie's album delay as well. I suspect they are closing ranks a bit to deal with this, and that's why there's no info. Now, I don't know if that is the case or not. I hope to God that is not the case. I hope Eddie is fine and that he is 100% and just chilling out. However, the weird part about it is bizarre that the whole summer thing was shut down, that Wolfie's album is on hold, and all of these things are paused with no explanation. So what do you make of this, Dave?
Well, throw it on top of the rumor pile along with everything else.
Right.
I will say it would be a reasonable explanation for what we were hoping was going to happen this summer and to what a lot of the rumors were pointing to.
Right.
And then didn't happen, which we were pretty much blaming on the band's dysfunction.
Right.
But maybe it was something health related. But I mean, who knows? I mean, I haven't heard that anywhere else. I haven't read that anywhere else.
Yeah.
It could just mean, he came down with a serious case of the flu and he didn't think he was going to get better in time for the tour to start. And so they're postponing it. So who knows? I mean, strictly a rumor at this point. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. We'll have to see if there's anything to that. And so anyway, okay. So we're on to letter number 7. And he says here, this is Dave Moses, who he calls himself the fourth Dave. I was listening to Danger, Danger and had a passing thought. Ted Poley would have been a great singer instead of Sam or Gary or possibly now Dave. Your thoughts? Also, do you think Dave is taking vocal lessons or getting coaching for his next Van Halen outing? I think people like Joe Lynn Turner even had vocal surgery that helped their singing. It seems Dave should be the best singer he could possibly be, but he only worries about swords, dancing, and stuff that's not his voice. Your thoughts? Don't stop what-ifing, don't stop arguing and agreeing, and don't shorten the podcast. Rock on, Dave Moses. Well, I don't think Ted Poley is the guy. That's for sure. Nothing against Ted. I actually like Danger, Danger. However, they're way too hairbandish. That's for sure. For Van Halen, they came out way too late in the game to really keep up with Van Halen's level of intensity In terms of Dave's vocal lessons, of course, any singer could benefit from vocal lessons. My wife teaches vocal lessons, and I actually will offer up free vocal